The Eastern Front wasn't just a battle. It was industrial warfare on a scale never seen before. We're breaking down every Soviet land vehicle that crushed through the snow, survived the mud, and pushed all the way to Berlin. Tanks and heavy armor. T-34-76. This was the game changer that shocked the Wehrmacht. Its sloped armor, wide tracks, and 76mm gun created a revolution in tank design. German crews feared its ability to shrug off direct hits and keep advancing through conditions that stopped everything else. T-34-85, the upgraded beast with a massive 3-man turret and 85mm gun. It finally gave Soviet tankers the firepower to go toe-to-toe with German Tigers and Panthers. This became the definitive Soviet medium tank, serving on every front from Kursk to Berlin. KV-1, a 45-ton monster that terrorized German forces in 1941. Its armor was so thick that German anti-tank guns couldn't penetrate it. Single KV-1s held up entire divisions, though its poor reliability made it a nightmare for Soviet logistics. KV-2. This was a siege weapon on tracks. The massive box turret housed a 152mm howitzer, designed to demolish Finnish bunkers. Its towering profile made it an easy target, but when it fired, nothing survived. IS-2. The ultimate tank killer, armed with a devastating 122mm gun. This 46-ton heavy tank could punch through the front armor of any German vehicle. It led the final assault into Germany, smashing through fortified cities. IS-3. Arriving too late for heavy combat, this revolutionary design featured a pike nose that influenced tank design for decades. Its appearance at victory parades shocked Western observers who realized Soviet armor had leaped ahead. KV-85, a transitional heavy tank that bridged the gap between the KV series and the IS tanks. It mounted an 85mm gun in an enlarged turret, but was quickly superseded by better designs as Soviet industry evolved. KV-1S, a lightened version sacrificing some armor for speed. The S stood for fast, though it remained slower than medium tanks. It was an attempt to fix the KV-1's mobility problems while keeping its punch. T-26, an obsolete light tank from the 1930s that was slaughtered in 1941. Armed only with a 45mm gun and paper-thin armor, thousands were destroyed in the opening weeks. Survivors were relegated to training or desperate last stands. BT-7, a fast cavalry tank with the unique Christie suspension. It could reach incredible speeds on roads but was lightly armored and vulnerable. Most were wiped out in the early disasters before better tanks arrived. T-60, a desperate wartime design built in automobile factories. This tiny light tank was cheap and fast to produce, but crews called it a metal coffin. Its 20mm autocannon was useless against German armor. T-70, an improved light tank with a 45mm gun. It was still cramped and vulnerable, with the commander forced to load, aim, and command simultaneously. Its chassis found better use as the basis for assault guns, tank destroyers, and assault guns. Nicknamed the Beast Slayer by Soviet troops, this monster mounted a 152mm howitzer on a KV chassis. While designed for bunkers, its massive shells could blow the turret clean off a Tiger tank with a single hit. ISU 152. The improved version built on the IS heavy tank chassis. It combined the Beast Slayer's devastating firepower with better armor and reliability. Nothing on the battlefield could withstand its enormous shells. ISU 122. The same IS chassis mounting a 122mm gun for better accuracy and rate of fire. It served as a dedicated tank destroyer and proved highly effective during the final push into Germany. Su-100, the ultimate evolution of the T-34-based tank destroyer. Its powerful 117mm gun could penetrate any German armor from the front. Combined with excellent mobility, it became one of the war's most effective tank hunters. It could engage Panthers and Tigers from defensive positions, excelling as an ambush predator until better variants arrived. Su-76. Crews nicknamed it the Bitch for good reason. This light self-propelled gun was open-topped, leaving crews exposed to everything. Despite complaints, it was cheap and became the second most produced Soviet armored vehicle. Su-122, an assault gun marrying the T-34 chassis with a 122mm howitzer. It was designed to blast fortifications and support infantry, though its low-velocity guns struggled against heavy German tanks. Su-57, a unique hybrid mounting a Soviet 57mm anti-tank gun on an American M3 half-track chassis. Only a few dozen were built under Lend-Lease, combining American mobility with Soviet firepower. Self-propelled artillery. Katyusha, BM-13. The legendary Stalin's organ was less a single weapon and more a psychological phenomenon. Mounted on a truck chassis, its 16 rocket rails could unleash a devastating saturation bombardment in seconds, flooding entire grid squares with high explosives. Unlike conventional artillery, Katyusha batteries could fire, relocate, and disappear before enemy counter-battery fire arrived. The shrieking howl of its rockets echoed across the Eastern Front. demoralizing German troops long before the explosions landed. Though inaccurate by precision standards, its sheer volume of fire made it ideal for breaking defensive lines and softening enemy positions ahead of armored assaults. BM-8 Katusha. The BM-8 was the lighter and more agile member of the Katusha family. Firing smaller 82mm rockets from compact launchers mounted on lighter trucks, it traded raw destructive power for flexibility. These systems could be deployed in greater numbers and were better suited to rough terrain, forest roads, and narrow tracks where heavier launchers struggled. While each salvo was less devastating than the BM-13, massed BM-8 units provided continuous fire support to advancing infantry and light armored formations. BM-31, Andrisha. If the BM-13 was terrifying, the BM-31 was apocalyptic. Nicknamed Andrisha, this heavy rocket launcher fired 12 enormous 300mm rockets, each weighing over 90 kilograms. Designed to smash fortifications, bunkers, and urban strongpoints, the BM-31 represented Soviet brute force engineering at its peak. When fired, the ground itself seemed to lift beneath the launcher. Though produced in smaller numbers due to its logistical demands, its impact on fortified German positions was devastating and often decisive. Su-5 was an early and ultimately flawed attempt at mobile artillery. Mounting a 122mm howitzer on the light T-26 chassis, it suffered from severe recoil issues that overstressed the suspension and frame. While innovative in concept, the vehicle proved too fragile for frontline combat. Most Su-5s were lost during the catastrophic retreats of 1941, but they represent the experimental roots of later, far more successful Soviet self-propelled gun designs. Armored personnel carriers and scout vehicles. BA-64. The BA-64 was the backbone of Soviet reconnaissance. Built on a Jeep-style chassis, its lightweight and sloped armor allowed it to move quickly and quietly ahead of main forces. The open-top turret provided excellent visibility, though at the cost of crew protection. Its ability to traverse narrow roads, bridges, and forest trails made it invaluable for scouting enemy positions and maintaining contact between units. BA-64B. Experience quickly revealed flaws in the original BA-64, particularly its tendency to tip during sharp turns. The BA-64B addressed this with a wider rear track, dramatically improving stability. This seemingly small change made a major difference in combat effectiveness, and the improved model became the preferred reconnaissance vehicle for much of the later war. BA-10. Heavier and more heavily armed, the BA-10 mounted a 45mm gun equivalent to that of light tanks. On paved roads it was fast and formidable, but its six-wheeled configuration struggled badly in mud and snow. Most BA-10s were lost during the early stages of the war, victims of poor mobility and overwhelming German firepower. Universal Carrier. Supplied by Britain under Lend-Lease, the Universal Carrier filled numerous support roles. Lightly armored and open-topped, it was vulnerable, but its tracked mobility allowed it to operate where trucks could not. Soviet forces used it for reconnaissance, ammunition supply, and infantry support, appreciating its reliability despite its limitations. Trucks and logistics. ZIS-5. The ZIS-5 was the unsung hero of the Red Army. This 3-ton truck carried ammunition, fuel, food, and troops across vast distances. Its simple design allowed for rapid mass production, even during evacuations of factories eastward. Winterized versions with wooden cabs sacrificed comfort and protection for speed of manufacture, reflecting Soviet priorities during total war. Guerrilla ZRA. Based on the American Ford Model DRA, the Guerrilla ZRA became the standard light truck of the Soviet Union. While limited in payload, it was versatile and widely used. Manufacturing quality varied greatly, meaning reliability depended as much on factory conditions as design. Still, its sheer numbers ensured it remained indispensable. ZIS-6. With its six-wheel configuration, the ZIS-6 was better suited to heavy loads and poor terrain. Most famously, it served as the platform for early Katusha rocket launchers. The additional axle improved traction in mud and snow, making it vital during offensives across the Eastern Front's infamous terrain. Studebaker US-6. Perhaps the most important vehicle delivered under Lend-Lease, the Studebaker US-6 transformed Soviet logistics. Its reliability, power, and off-road performance were unmatched. Soviet crews trusted it implicitly, and it became the preferred chassis for Katusha launchers. Many historians argue that without the US-6, Soviet operational mobility would have been severely constrained. GA-67. The GA-67 was the Soviet answer to the Jeep. With four-wheel drive and excellent cross-country capability, it excelled in reconnaissance and liaison roles. Introduced later in the war, it quickly became a favorite for commanders and scouts alike. This small track tractor towed anti-tank guns and light artillery directly behind advancing infantry. Its armored crew compartment provided basic protection against small arms and shrapnel, increasing survivability in forward positions. STZ-5. Derived from agricultural machinery, the STZ-5 was slow but immensely strong. It could haul heavy artillery through terrain that completely immobilized wheeled vehicles, making it indispensable during muddy seasons. Ya-12. The Ya-12 was the largest and most powerful Soviet artillery tractor. Its wide tracks and diesel engine allowed it to tow the heaviest guns under the harshest conditions, ensuring artillery support never lagged behind advancing armor. Lend-Lease vehicles. M3 Scout Car. The M3 Scout Car offered reliability and ease of maintenance. Though lightly armored and vulnerable, its mobility made it popular with reconnaissance units. M4 Sherman. Contrary to popular myth, many Soviet crews liked the Sherman. It was reliable, comfortable, and safer to operate than many domestic designs. Features like escape hatches and stable suspension earned it respect. Valentine. Slow and undergunned, the Valentine nonetheless earned a reputation for reliability. Soviet crews nicknamed it the husband for its dependability under fire. Matilda Tekin. With armor nearly impervious to early German weapons, the Matilda excelled in breakthrough roles. Its speed was poor, but in the right conditions it was formidable. M3 Lee Grant. The M3's tall profile and awkward gun placement made it unpopular. Soviet crews derisively called it a grave for seven brothers, reflecting its vulnerability despite respectable firepower. Specialized vehicles. NI Tank. Born of desperation during the siege of Leningrad, the NI tank symbolized Soviet resilience. Crudely armored and often ineffective, it nonetheless boosted morale and demonstrated a refusal to surrender. T-34-57. Designed for tank hunting, the T-34-57's high-velocity gun excelled at armor penetration. Limited production kept it rare, but its performance hinted at future developments. Su-76I. An improvised solution using captured German equipment, the Su-76I showcased Soviet adaptability. Built in small numbers, it was a stopgap rather than a long-term solution. Recovery and engineering. T-34 Recovery Variant. Recovery vehicles ensured damaged tanks were not permanently lost. By salvaging and repairing vehicles, they sustained Soviet armored strength. Tracked recovery vehicles. Heavy tanks required heavy solutions. Often multiple recovery vehicles worked together to extract immobilized giants from mud or rubble. Engineering tractors. From clearing obstacles to building bridges, engineering vehicles enabled the relentless advance. Their work rarely earned glory, but without them, offensives would grind to a halt.